Linear regression analysis. By definition, linear regression is the simplest type of prediction. So it is used when we predict something. When we take the observed values of x to estimate or predict corresponding y values, the process is called the simple prediction. When more than one x variable is used, the outcome is a function of a multiple predictors. And that simple and multiple predictions are made using the technique called the regression analysis. So regression is a term used to describe the process of estimating the relationship between two variables. So the relationship is estimated by fitting a straight line through the given data. So kaya nga meron tayong linear because we use the equation, yung ating y is equals to a plus bx. Or in other term, ito yung slope formula form, di ba? Y is equals to mx plus b. Okay? So in this case, yung ating equation of regression line is y hat is equals to a plus bx. Algebraically, it describes the relationship between two variables. So the graph of the regression equation is called the regression line. So it meaning kapag regression line, linear yung kanyang graph. So pwedeng pataas, pwedeng pababa yung ating mapipredict. Pero straight line siya. This definition expresses a relationship between x called the independent variable or the predictor value and the y hat naman yung ating dependent variable. So sabi ko nga, yung x is the independent variable while yung y hat is the dependent variable. Okay? So, y-intercept of regression equations, we have alpha and beta or yung a and b natin. So, take note of this formula. For A, we have the fraction bar, summation of y values times summation of x values squared minus summation of x times the summation of the product of x and y over the number of population or the number of sample rather times the summation of x squared minus the quantity summation of x squared. Okay? While yung slope naman, slope of regression equation, kasi di ba sabi ko nga kanina, yung slope form natin is y is equals to mx plus b. Where ito yung m, ito yung ating slope. Whereas dito sa atin namang linear regression, we use the equation y hat, meron siyang ganyan, is equals to a plus bx. Where yung ating b dito is yung ating tinatawag na slope, yung katabi ng x value. With the formula, b is equals to fraction bar. Sa ating numerator, we have our n times the summation of the product xy minus the summation of x times summation of y over and ulit times summation of x squared minus the quantity summation of x squared. So ito nandyan naman yan sa ating module, sa ating lesson. So pwede nyo i-verify and then gamitin natin siya in this topic, linear regression analysis. Note that we cannot use the linear regression analysis to predict expected value or y hat when the x value in the data set is beyond the minimum and maximum observed values. Okay, so meaning if the lowest observed x value is 10 and the highest observed x value is 95, we cannot predict the expected y value for less than 10 or x more than 95. So we also have on page number 2, table A-6 o yung tawag natin dyan is critical value, yung CB, dyan natin kinukuha yun, of the person correlation coefficient. So, itong topic na linear regression, para lang siyang continuation ng correlation, but we integrate the value of the critical values and we compare that to the results we gather after we use the person product moment coefficient. And we have that table, meron dyang N, yung sample, and then merong A na significance level ang tawag dyan, o yung alpha na nakalagay, 0.05, meron din namang 0.01. Okay? Tapos sa baba, may nakalagay, to test the hypothesis sub-zero, rho is equals to 0 against the hypothesis 1. Kasi magpipredict ka, so we have hypothesis. Wherein rho is not equal to 0. So reject. Kapag ganun daw, i-reject natin yung initial hypothesis or yung H sub-zero if the absolute value of R is greater than critical value in the table. So i-compare natin kapag yung nahanap natin na absolute value of R, kasi yung R, di ba, nagni-negative yun minsan, pero pag sinabi natin na absolute value, regardless of the sign, so it will become positive. So kapag yun naman ay naging greater than the critical value which is nandyan sa table A, that's 6, kailangan nating i-reject yung first hypothesis natin. So example, yan, merong example dyan, tapos i-discuss natin to. So as you can see on the table below, it shows the monthly income X and the monthly expenses naman yung Y in thousands of pesos of 12 families in a certain community in Baguio City. So merong tatlong column. Yung unang column is the family member. Yung next column is for the monthly income in terms of thousands. Yun naman yung ating value of X. And yung third column is the monthly expenses, which is also the value of Y, in terms also of 1,000 pesos. Then first na gagawin natin dito, para lang siyang katulad ng pag-solve natin sa person using person moment, product moment coefficient. So first, we have to get the X squared, kasi gagamitin natin yan. Tapos hanapin natin yung mag-add tayo ng tatlong column dyan. We have X squared. We also have Y squared and the product of X and Y. So alam nyo naman kung paano nagawin yan. Okay? So kapag X squared, ito lang yun. So 16.5 squared is equals to 272.25. So ganun yan. Ganun lang. I-squared nyo lang itong X value na yan. And then sa Y squared naman, i-squared nyo lang ulit yung ating Y value, which is 14.10. So that is equals to 198.81. So I hope na alam nyo kung paano gawin to, pababa hanggang dito. Dahil naturo na natin yan. And for X and Y value naman, you just have to multiply these two. Okay? So kung ano man yung value niyan, 16.5 times 14.10. Okay? And then pababa, to get the summation of those columns. So dito sa pinakababa niyan, makukuha natin yung ating mga summation, wherein yung ating N or sample size is equals to 12, and yun yung ating summation of X is equals to 207.5. Tapos yung ating summation of Y is equals to 184.54, while yung ating summation of, ibaba ko na siya, no? Summation of X squared is equals to 3,614.75. And yung ating summation of Y squared is equals to 2,848.74. Please verify to your calculator. While dito naman sa ating product ng X and Y values, we have this one, summation of the product X times Y is equals to 3,203.22. So ito yung ating mga gagamitin na value sa ating equation. So now, we can use this value to get the person correlation na yung letter R na maliit. Okay? So ano ba yun? Recall the person-moment correlation formula, that is R is equals to yung ating fraction var, and then we have N times summation of the product X and Y minus the quantity summation of X times the quantity of summation of Y over the square root of the N value times the quantity of the summation of X squared minus the summation of X raised to 2 times yung N ulit natin times the quantity summation of Y squared minus the quantity summation of Y raised to 2. So yan yung ating product moment coefficient na pinag-aralan na natin. So because we have now the value, you can just substitute the value to our formula, which is like this. R is equals to, we have the value of N, 12, times yung ating summation ng product, which is 3,203.22, minus yung ating summation of X, which is 207.5, times 184.54. Okay? Over yung ating square root. Okay? So we have 12 yung N times the quantity of the product of X and Y, which is 3,203.22 minus the value of X, 207.5 squared, times 12 times yung Y naman, 2,800. Okay, may mali. Ito pala is summation of X rather. So this is 3,614.75. Okay? So dito naman we have 2,848.74 minus the quantity of summation of Y, which is 184.54, and that is raised to 2. Okay? Simplifying the equation, so this would give us 12 times 3,203 is 38,438.64 minus yung product naman ng 207 times 184.54, we have 38,292.05 over yung ating square root, 43,377 minus 43,056 times the square root, 34,184 minus 34,055. Meron pang makasunod yan ng mga decimal points. Ni-round up ko na lang siya. Pero you can use with that value na may decimal point. So this would equals to 146.59 over the square root of 320.75 times the square root of 129.82. Okay? And simplifying further, we will get the value of R, which is equals to 0.7184. Ito na yung ating person-moment product coefficient. Okay? Yan yung ating hinahanap. Ngayon, ano yung kahalagahan ng result na yan para ma-compare natin siya with the critical value? So sabi dyan, yung first question, what is the strength and direction of relationship between the monthly income and monthly expenses of the 12 families in a certain community in Baguio City? So the result, yung R natin is 0.7184. It indicates a dependable relationship or high positive correlation between family income and monthly expenses. This implies that an increase in monthly income will result to an increase in monthly expenses. Kasi nga, we have high positive correlation for that. Next question. What proportion of the variable in the amount of monthly expenses can be explained by the variation in the amount of monthly income? So ang gagawin nyo lang, you just have to square the R. R squared is just equals to 0.5161. Then, this would be 51.61% rather kapag ginawa natin siyang 10%. So 51.61% kapag ininterpret natin siya is the variation in monthly expenses or yung Y variable natin of those 12 families in Baguio City and can be explained by the variation in the amount of their monthly income. Number 3, test the null hypothesis. When you say null hypothesis, yung empty, diba? So that monthly income and monthly expenses are not related at the 0.05 level of significance. So saan manggagaling yung 0.05 level of significance na yan? So nandun yan sa ating table which is the critical value na table A-6. Okay? So refer to that table and then you just have to formulate a hypothesis. First hypothesis, yung ating initial or H hypothesis sub 0. Sabi dyan, monthly income and monthly expenses are not related. Okay? And yung ating hypothesis 1 or next hypothesis on that is monthly income and monthly expenses are related. So kunin natin yung level of significance. So again, yung level of significance dito is makukuha nyo dun sa ating table. Lagay ko dito table A-6. Yan yung ating critical value. So meron doon yung alpha nga na sinasabi ko. We have the value of 0.05 at saka 0.01. Yun yung tinatawag natin na level of significance. So in this case, ang tinatanong po is yung level of significance with the alpha value of 0.05 or rather 5%. Okay? Now, get the critical value. Paano natin kukunin yung ating critical value or yung ating CV? Madali lang naman yan. Kunin mo yung alpha times or alpha and then i-correspond natin siya doon sa ating sample. Okay? So yung ating critical value for that is yung alpha nga natin, sabi 0.05. Tapos yung ating N value is 12. So kung titingnan mo, ang nandyan na result under alpha, which is 0.05, and then at the row of 12, kasi ang N is 12, is 0.576. So meron tayo agad instant critical value using that table. Okay? So ito pala is 0.576. Ngayon, paano tayo mag-interpret ng decision dyan? So sabi doon sa baba ng table, basahin ko yung note doon sa baba ng table, sabi, reject H sub 0 o yung una nating hypothesis if the absolute value of R is greater than the critical value in the table. So ano yung nangyari dito? Okay? I-reject ba natin? Kasi ang natin dito is, ang critical value natin dito is 0.576, di ba? So tingnan natin kung ano yung nila, correlation nila. Ayan. So decision, reject H sub 0 if the absolute coefficients of correlation R is greater than the critical value. Compare the obtained person R or yung person product moment correlation R with the critical value CV in table A-6 and make a conclusion. So ang naging decision natin dyan, yung R which is 0.7184 is greater than, lagay ko na lang, is greater than our critical value. So 0.7184 is greater than 0.576. So we conclude that monthly income and monthly expenses are related. Okay, kasi sumobra naman siya dun sa ating critical value eh. So what will be the expected monthly expenses if a certain family has a monthly income of 18,500? Okay? So ito na yung ating kukunin na regression. Kasi sabi natin, prediction yan, di ba? So what if daw kung ang value ng monthly income natin is 18,000? So MI is 18.5. Okay. Yung 18.5 ba, pasok ba doon sa ating criteria? Kasi sabi nila, sabi kanina, makukuha mo yung regression na yun kung yung value, halimbawa, yung lowest observed na X value at saka yung highest observed na X value, dapat hindi doon lumampas yung ating ipipredict. Okay? So balikan nyo yung, yung ating problem. Nandun naman yung halos pinakamababa yata dyan is 15 sa monthly income at saka yung pinakamataas is 20. Therefore, pasok naman yung 18.5. Kasi kung titingnan mo, wala talaga yung monthly income dyan na 18.5. Kaya nga yun yung ating ipipredict. Okay? So I hope you got the point. So next is, ayan. So, erase ko muna yung nasa screen, tapos gamitin natin yung A and B, yung ating Y hat na equation. Okay, again, ang tinatanong natin, ipipredict natin is what if daw yung expected monthly expenses natin if a certain family has a monthly income of 18.5. So given X, we have the given, X is equals to 18.5. Kasi yung in thousands yan, di ba? So 18,500 yan. And then we have the formula, Y hat is equals to A plus BX. Di ba? Okay. So ano yung A natin na formula? A formula is just equals to the fraction bar. Then sa numerator we have the summation of Y times the summation of X squared minus summation of X times summation of the products X and Y over N times the summation of X squared minus the quantity of summation X raised to 2. Okay? Now, we have computed that already. So, yung ating summation of Y is equals to 184.54. Nandiyan naman sa ating screen. Times yung summation of X squared is equals to 3,614.75 minus yung summation of X natin which is 207 times yung ating summation of the product X and Y which is 3,203.22 over yung ating N times the quantity X squared minus the quantity summation of X squared. So yan naman ay, meron na ba tayong kinompute yan? Meron kanina, that is equals to, lagay ko dito, yung N natin, summation of X squared minus the quantity of X raised to 2 is equals to 320.75. So yun na lang ilalagay natin dito, 320.75. So saan ba natin kinuha yan? Doon yan sa ating pag-compute ng person-product moment correlation kanina. Okay, so simplifying further the equation, this will give us 2,000, this will give us 667,065, meron pang decimal point yan, minus 664,668 over 320.75. Then, this would become 2,397.82 over 320.75. Therefore, yung ating A value is equal to 7.4757. Please verify to your calculator. Ngayon, take note na natin yan dahil kasama na yan sa ating given, which is A. O dito ko na lang ilagay para meron tayong space. Yung A is 7.4757. Now, after that, kunin naman natin yung ating value of B. Kasi meron tayong X, di ba? So, ang wala lang tayo is yung B. Tapos, mahanap na natin yung Y hat. Okay. Sabi naman, we have the formula B is equals to fraction bar. We have the N summation of the product X and Y minus the summation of X times the summation of Y over N times the summation of X squared minus the quantity of summation X raised to 2. Wherein yung ating numerator is just equals to 146.59, ito na kasi yun, over 320.75, ito naman yun. Okay? Simplifying further the equation, this will give us 0.4570 or 4570. Ngayon, ilalagay na natin siya dito sa ating value of B. Okay? To get the ating Y hat. Okay? B is equals to 0.4570. Ayan, palitan ko ng para makita natin kung paano gagawin to. Ito yung Y hat and then A plus BX. Substitute natin yung value of A which is 7.4757 plus yung B natin which is 0.4570 times yung value of X which is 18.5. And we will get that Y hat or yung ating hinahanap na prediction dyan when the monthly income is 18.5 is 15,930 or that is 15.93 in thousands pa rin. Okay? So, ganun po siya. So, paano natin i-interpret yan? So, meaning the expected monthly expenses of a family receiving a monthly income of 18,000 is around 15,930. So, I hope you learned something about this linear regression. Meron ba tayong another example dyan? Yung Kelly Blue Book naman. So meron dyan. So just follow the, yung ating procedure. We have step 1. Hanapin nyo muna yung mga, summation nung N, yung X, Y, X squared, Y squared, tsaka X and Y, yung product nun. Then after that, substitute nyo yung mga values nun dun sa ating person correlation formula. Then after na naman yan ay interpret nyo na. Meron tayong yung hypothesis natin. Tapos, kunin nyo yung level of significance niya doon sa table. So, after nyo makuha yung significance or level of significance doon sa table, i-compare nyo na yung ating absolute value with the critical value. Then, mag-decide kayo kung anong hypothesis yung necessary for that. Then, after that, gamitin nyo ulit yung R o yung ating person moment product correlation and then gamitin nyo na yung A, B and then use the value of X to get the value of Y hat. And then after that, pwede nyo nang mag-interpret. For our activity, we have linear correlation and regression analysis, yung tax efficiency na nandyan sa last page ng ating module. So you can use your paper or bond paper para isolve yung ating activity, which is yung bilang natin dyan sa activity na yan is I think activity activity 4 yata. Okay, so basta yan. So activity 1 yan for this final term. Okay, so thank you.